February 24th, 2022. Putin launches a war to prevent NATO expansion. Today, NATO's border with Russia is twice as long. This might be the most spectacular strategic failure in modern history, and it all started with a lie about a conversation that happened 32 years ago. I'm going to show you exactly what the conversation actually said, and why Putin's entire justification for this war falls apart when you read the real documents. Here's the story that's been repeated for decades, and it sounds completely reasonable. February 1990, James Baker, US Secretary of State, meets with Gorbachev in Moscow. The Soviet Union is collapsing. Baker promises NATO will never expand, not 1 inch eastward. Fast forward 30 years, NATO has expanded to Russia's border. Putin feels betrayed and surrounded. The Ukraine invasion is his desperate attempt to stop what he sees as Western aggression. Putin himself has cited this promise dozens of times. Russian media repeats it constantly. Even some Western analysts accept it as fact. There's just one problem. It's not what happened. Yale historian Emi Sarot spent years getting over 1,000 documents declassified from 6 different national archives. When you actually read what Baker said to Gorbachev, the entire narrative collapses. Here's Baker's exact words from the German Federal Archives, February 9, 1990. Would you prefer a unified Germany outside of NATO, or tied to NATO with assurances that NATO's jurisdiction would not shift 1 inch eastward from its present position? Notice what's missing. Baker isn't talking about Poland, Ukraine, or Eastern Europe. He's talking about East German territory during German reunification. But here's the part that destroys Putin's entire argument. 3 months later, when Gorbachev actually complains about possible NATO expansion to other countries, President Bush gives him a completely different answer. Bush says any country has a right to choose a different path. Think about that. Bush wasn't promising to limit NATO expansion. He was establishing the principle that any country could join. The Soviet advisors in the room were furious. They knew Gorbachev had just agreed to the legal framework that would allow unlimited NATO expansion. And that's exactly what happened. But here's what makes Putin's betrayal story even more ridiculous. Throughout the 1990s, while NATO was expanding, Russia wasn't fighting it. They were partnering with it. 1992, Russia joins NATO's new Cooperation Council as a founding member. 1994, Russia participates in NATO's Partnership for Peace program. 1997, Russia signs an official agreement with NATO and gets a permanent desk at NATO headquarters. For years, Russian and NATO forces were literally doing joint military exercises together. Gazprom was becoming Europe's biggest energy supplier. If NATO expansion was really an existential threat to Russia, why were they helping to make it happen? The answer is simple. Because the real story isn't about NATO expansion. It's about something much more personal to Putin. Let's talk about what really scares Putin. Ukrainian choice. 2019 Ukrainian elections. Far-right parties got 2% of the vote. For comparison, France's far-right got 33%. Germany's got 12%. After Russian aggression in 2014, Ukraine's parliament votes 343-0 for NATO membership. Picture this. Your grandparents survived Stalin's famine. Your parents lived under Soviet repression. You finally get to choose. Of course you choose the West. That's not Western manipulation, that's survival instinct. Putin's not afraid of NATO missiles. He's afraid Ukrainian democracy will give Russians ideas. So let's get back to Putin's strategic genius. December 2021, Putin demands NATO return to 1997 borders. The West says no. February 2022, Putin invades to prevent NATO expansion. Result: Finland and Sweden, neutral for decades, immediately join NATO. Russia's border with NATO more than doubles overnight. Every single action Putin took to prevent NATO expansion guaranteed more NATO expansion. So, next time someone tells you NATO expansion caused this war, ask them one simple question. How exactly did Putin's war to stop NATO expansion end up creating the longest NATO border in Russian history? Let me know in the comments if this changed how you think about the conflict. And if you want more videos that cut through geopolitical myths with actual evidence, hit subscribe. Because there's a lot more propaganda to debunk. The documents don't lie. The question is whether we're ready to believe them.